go. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to SecurityGuideTV.com at Black Hat 2017. Beautiful Las Vegas. What's your name, sir?
My name is Perry Carpenter.
And what's the name of your company?
KnowBefore.
KnowBefore.com.
KnowBefore.com.
I was intrigued when I saw that name on the list. It tells me a lot about something, but I don't know what.
Yeah. So
what are we going to know before?
We are all about the human side of security, and we are about testing and training and equipping humans to better withstand attacks, and then also, of course, with that, to be able to measure their effectiveness at withstanding phishing attacks and other social engineering attacks.
Now, this is an interesting approach because everybody talks about ones and zeros all the time.
Right.
And we're going to protect this data and put it in a sandbox, and we got a folder and encryption and blah, blah, blah. But really, it's people pushing the buttons doing the damage.
Exactly.
Right? And the education part is difficult. Would you classify yourself, you guys, as an educator, or?
Yeah, we'd classify ourselves as educators who are techies at heart.
Right.
And so what we like to do is take that technology and put it at the point of human behavior so that we can see what the response is.
Okay.
You know, is that response a good response that we're looking for from a security perspective, or is it something that turns into a moment that can be teachable and correctable? And so we are all about not shaming users if they fail a test.
Yeah.
We're all about coming alongside them so that we can channel the behavior to where that should be, so that we can make them an effective first line of defense and last line of defense in many cases.
Excellent. And could you speak about your client base, what type of industries and sectors you cover?
Yeah, so we are really popular in all industries right now. We've got almost 12,000 client organizations across the world. A lot of those come from the financial services areas, you can imagine, so banking, insurance, and so on. A lot of those in healthcare and retail as well, and then education. But we've got really good representation across all verticals because this is an everybody problem. And so we are there to help equip companies with that everybody problem, because the humans are the one things that we can't easily issue patches for and are affected by all the stuff that just kind of swirls around them. So it's not that we just give somebody information and hope for the best. If you give somebody information, that information is competing with the breakfast that they ate this morning, they had with their spouse, the bank account balance that they have, and everything else that pushes them maybe into a different state than they were when they first took in that information. So we're about behavioral conditioning over time through simulated testing.
Now, I'm going to take a guess here. I'm probably going to be wrong, because usually I'm wrong. But one way I would envision this working would be you have training module, that's one part, education awareness.
Right.
But I'm wondering if I'm sitting here typing up something for Security Guy Radio, and I click on thewhitehouse.com, which I'm not supposed to do because it's not
don't do
people
that.
think it is.
It's going to take you to a bad place.
Exactly, very bad place. Is KnowBefore going to say, think, Chuck, bad behavior, not malicious maybe, but just dumb? What are the metrics you use to measure it? Is it software? Is it logs? Or how do you do it?
Yeah, so all of the above.
Okay.
The way that our core technology works is that we'll have the ability to send out simulated phishing attacks.
Oh, interesting.
So that might, in your example, it might be that there's a press release that's coming from the White House and gives you a whitehouse.com link for further information, but that's obscured by whitehouse.gov, but it's just trying to send you to this bad link. If somebody clicks on that link, we take a metric. We'll look at whether they open the email, we'll look at whether they engage with the content, the amount of time that they had it open, whether they click the link. If we redirect somebody to a page where we're asking for more information, we'll make a note of that, though we don't collect the information because we're a security company. So if we, like in an example, if we sent somebody to a Google login page, we'll note the fact that they entered something in the user ID and password field, but we're not going to capture that information.
Okay.
And so we're all about gathering that metric at the time of behavior. And then we also do have some interesting things that are a little bit further looking out, but near term, where we will be able to look at the actual behavior of other things in real time and say, do you really want to do that? Here are the leading indicators that would make us believe that that's a risky decision. And in light of what you know and what you're about to do you want to maybe roll that back?
In some of the more highly regulated industries, such as financial services, healthcare, and energy, could you speak about a use case, for example, in financial services, where you have helped to transform an entire organization to a cyber-first culture?
Yeah, so, and I think that we all know that culture is the biggest problem.
Yep.
Because everything affects culture. The fact that we come in and out of the doors and we're tired can affect the culture. The executive mindset can affect the culture. The peer dynamic within a division or department affects culture. The psychological posters and motivators and everything around affects culture as well. So we really take a holistic view, and I know that term is overused, but we really do want to take a holistic or multifaceted view around those things and start to think about what can we do in addition to putting information in front of people, and in addition to doing simulated testing to create a transformative culture. And so we've got a number of programs where we go in and really, in a consultative way, help people think through all of those different factors and say, how do you address this people group? How do you address this executive culture? And how do you address this maybe a marketing team differently than a call center team, and so on, and get the right dynamics in place at the right time. And that's all just bundled into our standard package.
Now, I'm hearing that what you do lends itself to a compliance model, but
Absolutely.
You're not compliance per se. Compliance the end result of what you do?
Yeah,
It's not what you're starting
compliance
to do,
is a driver for
It's the driver.
for engaging a company like ours,
right?
right?
But it's not, like a compliance company would be, here's my rules,
Right.
checklist, you did it, and you're really looking more for human
Yeah,
behavior.
if the checklist is down here, then what we can help you accomplish is up here.
Okay.
So if you are aggressive in using tools and technologies and processes the way that we believe are best practice, then not only will you achieve the checking the box piece, but you'll drive secure behavior. Because we all know that being aware of something or checking a box doesn't make you secure. In the same way that I'm aware of a speed limit sign that says 55 when I pass it going 70, that doesn't drive, that speed limit sign doesn't necessarily always drive behavior.
Yeah.
It is the understanding of context and risk and really behavioral conditioning over time that drives behavior.
So
This
you're
is
really the
fascinating.
speed bumps, or you're even maybe the gate that pops up to
Exactly.
stop them
We're
from
there
engaging in that.
to encourage the right hygiene by driving repetitive action, so that the things that could become dangerous spur of the moment decisions are more safe, kind of gut reaction decisions.
So
we
Perry,
want to drive the right gut reactions.
What keeps you up at night? What do you worry about?
The thing that keeps me up at night is that there's this constant dialogue between the technology side of security and the human side of security, where the technology people say security awareness is it's overrated because it never affects things. People are always going to make bad choices. And I think if we give into that, we're giving up. Because people are at the first line, they are at the last line. Security relies on multiple layers to have a good defense. And if we're giving up on a layer in that, well, then ultimately we're letting something fall through the bucket. And we've seen over and over and over the past few months that ransomware and other very sophisticated attacks can come in through a phishing vector. And so I don't want to give up on that. I don't want to just rely on a secure email gateway. I don't want to just rely on another endpoint detection type of device. I want to have all of that so that we have good pervasive measures in place.
Perry Carpenter, knowbefore.com. That's KNOWBE,
Yes.
the number 4.com. Fascinating.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed.
I appreciate
Very
it. Thank
insightful
you.
answer on that last bit there. Thanks for coming
And
on
thank you for all-
SecurityGuideTV.com.
Thank you.
At Black Hat 2017.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for all the hard work you and your colleagues
Thank you.
too.